Yo, what is up guys? It's the Goblin and welcome back to another Call of Duty Black Ops 4 video. Now, basically on the latest patch notes, they ended up hitting the assault rifles fairly hard, and they honed in on, they hit all the assault rifles with certain nerfs, but they honed in on two in particular, which were commonly known as like the best two guns or the best two weapons in the game completely at that point, and that was the ICR, of course, with the double grip, and this Vapr right here, which is an amazing gun. They hit this thing with an unbelievable amount of nerfs. I'm going to talk about what they nerfed on this and a different sort of class setup. The old one still works good, and this gun is still great with your suppressor normal class setup like I gave in the first class setup video. That one still works, but I'm going to give sort of an alternative class setup to sort of counteract the nerfs and play to this weapon's strengths, play against the nerfs and make this thing overpowered with a different sort of setup, which I think is absolutely amazing. If you guys could smack a like on this video, I would really appreciate that. I'm just super hyped about this update. Honestly, I've had some good time to play now, and I have mixed feelings about it. There are a lot of things to complain about with this update, but there also are a lot of positives, and it is the first update, so I'll probably talk about that more in a different video, my full opinion on it. But I'm just super hyped for the weekend and just to grind this game more. So drop a like on this thing, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, and let's talk about this. First of all, I want to say one thing from my last video where I talked about the MX9 and how it got a pretty decent buff. For some reason in the video I said I thought I had quick draw on the class setup, but I said quick draw was the attachment, but it actually was hybrid mags. So just to clear that up, that gun aims down sight so fast. I thought I had quick draw on the class, but I didn't. It was actually hybrid mags for my last video. So let's talk about this gun right here. Let's talk about the Vapr and what they hit with nerfs. So to do that, first of all, we have to remember that they nerfed all of the assault rifles, and this is what they did. They did a slight reduction to the ADS move speed and a slight reduction to the ADS in transition speed for all assault rifles. So this sort of means that in a game where stock already isn't available on every single AR, they made it so it's even, you feel even, it's even harder to strafe when using those guns that don't have stock available, because the ADS move speed, as well as the slight reduction, and they say slight reduction in the patch notes, but after playing for like a good, 2 days or so it's been since the patch, you can definitely feel these nerfs, and it does feel, on the ARs, you can feel the slight reduction to ADS in transition speed, which is sort of your aim down sights time out of a sprint or something like that. They don't really give us all of the context around the patch notes, which kind of sucks, but they basically give you, the most general stuff. So those are what they hit all the assault rifles with as far as their nerf, but they also hit the Vapr with more specific nerfs. They tried to kill this gun to the ground, kind of. I mean, this gun is still top gun in the game, and by the way, a new whatever top 5 guns or something will be coming out soon after the update, because I know people are asking for that. But as far as the Vapr, what else they did to it besides those two nerfs that affect all the ARs is they reduced the close range headshot damage, which basically changed it so it takes one more close range headshots with this thing were high caliber, were absolutely insane, and you could kill people in like 3 bullets. It was complete monster at close range, plus the thing was also good at long range. So that was the first thing they did, was reduce the close range headshot damage. So basically in turn reduces damage at close range in those specific amount of specific percentage of gunfights where you will hit one plus headshots. Next is damage now falls off sooner, which this is a big one, because this is sort of what they hit some of the SMGs like the MX9, which was my last video talking about the buff on that. They did the opposite. They buffed that. On this one, they're hitting it with a hard nerf with the Vapr, which one of this gun's strengths was it wasn't the best at range, but it had little to no recoil, allowing you to get those shots in at range. Now damage now falls off sooner. This gun is not going to be as strong at range. And then they also did a high caliber nerf. So high caliber on this gun now is reduced to headshot multiplier, eliminating the possibility of a 3-hit kill, which was a little bit overpowered. I did try out high caliber before, and if you did have good accuracy and were hitting people in the head, you can actually melt people in this game. That's kind of a good tactic, like on the tactical rifles, on the auger. I really think that's a good way to go. So now that you guys know how they hit this gun with nerfs, they hit it pretty hard, basically going at its damage up close, its damage at range, and then its ADS and sort of movement speed. So what I do with this setup is it's a different setup where I still like the other setup where I run the silencer on it, but this setup is a little bit different. And basically what I go into with this setup is I rock it straight up without the silencer. The reasoning behind that is, like I said, the silencer and high caliber, those are still good attachments on this gun, but the fact that this class setup is sort of to combat the nerf, and the fact that the nerf hit on damage at range so hard, and of course also they actually did nerf the suppressor as well. It was kind of confusing in the patch notes, but they nerfed the suppressor as well, the damage range on that. So it's definitely, you know, your gun at range is not going to be as good, and that's why this class up, I designed it more around close range fighting. Now, the first attachment is going to be fast mags. Now, some people, you know, that don't play as fast paced don't really like to run fast mags as much, but if you get into a fight against multiple enemies in this game, you're going to need every chance you can get, and on this class setup, I do tend to play it a little bit aggressive because I am comfortable with this gun in its close, you know, kill range. It definitely is good at that, and it definitely is good at facing up against SMGs. Fast mags is good. I think it's a great attachment on this gun because of the fact that this should be like a rushing assault rifle. This isn't one like the ICR that you're going to sit back and try to pick people off from range, or like a tactical rifle like the Auger. This is your up in the face AR, and that's where I run fast mags. Now, as far as my other two attachments, I run 3 attachments total, as well as a sight. I guess I run the ELO sight personally. Even after the nerfs to the ELO, I still think on this gun it's basically a laser. There's essentially no recoil. But as far as the two other attachments that I run, I actually double down with stock 1 and stock 2, and this is to combat the other nerf to the ADS move speed. Stock 1 is nice, and it's a big thing to have. Having stock 2 adds a little bit more on that strafe speed, so some people think it's kind of useless because of course it doesn't actually double what stock 1 does. It just gives you a little bit more bonus, but the fact that stock 2 also does some other stuff which gives you improved movement speed while aiming, maximize movement speed while aiming, of course, but then maintain aim while jumping, landing, and moving while prone is definitely a major key. Maintaining your aim while jumping, landing, and moving while prone. These are key things in this game that on other people's, your guns are traditionally really inaccurate in this game when going prone because you have to put that hand down if you don't have stock 2, and also just because of how they are with the predictive recoil patterns and like while shooting in motion, it's not nearly as good, but dexterity can help to fix that, and so can stock 2, and that's where I get my use out of this class setup with the attachments fast mags, stock 1, and stock 2. This isn't the only way to run this gun, but this is a good gun that if you are feeling the nerfs, this class will help you combat those. And then as far as my my creative class with my perks, I honestly think the best perk setup, if you can only go with 3, and of course it varies, you know, there's certain situations where I'll take flak jacket over, or ghost over, or lightweight, or dexterity, but tac mask, gung ho, dead silence works great. I love how gung ho works hand in hand sort of with the aiming down sights and getting your, well, not really aiming down sights, but getting your gun up quick after a sprint, which was one thing that was really, you know, nerfed with the ADS transition speed. So gung ho does help with that. I would run it anyway. And then acoustic sensor. A lot of people are saying that acoustic sensor, they really think the nerf did hit it pretty hard. In my opinion, so far, the change is definitely noticeable with the acoustic sensor, but I still think it's that strong in game modes where like people don't really run dead silence too much, like, you know, chaos domination or normal domination. I think it's really still the go-to with acoustic, but probably it opens up the lane to try out like the ComSec device or maybe other stuff like that. I'm still with the acoustic as of right now, but I do think that acoustic sensor is still the way to go for me, and that's what I do rock with. So in conclusion with this Vapr, is it the best gun in the game, like I've proclaimed it before, the #1 gun in the game? I don't know. I don't know if it's still the #1 gun in the game. Is it still a top gun? Yes, it's still a top gun. The gun is still amazing. And the fact is that this patch, it did level the playing field a little bit more, but I still think assault rifles are the way to go. And by slowing them down, we'll just maybe make people play even more campy, you know, because you can't be as aggressive with the ARs now. But the fact is, when it comes down to straight up time to kill, a gun like the Vapr is just so effective at that close range where it's time to kill. I mean, you're going to be able to compete, if not beat, the GKS, the MX9, stuff like that fairly easily with this weapon. And even when those, you know, the SMGs are buffed and now they're a little bit better and the ARs are nerfed, I still think the AR is the superior category. I think both assault rifles and tactical rifles are still a lot stronger in the current meta than SMGs. But like I said, I've been testing out this update, testing out all the weapons that got hit the hardest, making videos on them, and I will be making probably a video on my, you know, top weapons, which I think a couple of them have changed for me. They have, partly to do with the patch notes and partly just to do with gaming experience and playing more with different setups, seeing what other people are rocking with, trying out operator mods, which is a big thing. But yeah, as far as the Vapr goes, this is, if this was a weapon, like I saw some people in the comments saying they used their prestige token on this or something like that, and they didn't want to lose this weapon. Don't really worry about that. This gun is still amazing, and it's gonna do the same job, just not as well at range. And basically that's why we designed the class up a little bit different, so you don't have that handicap at range that the suppressor gives. Which, even if it's just a minimal range deduction, that combined with the patch, you know, you can double down into some big damage areas or nerfed damage area. So this gun still does big damage with this setup, and I really do like the stock 1 and 2. The strafing ability of it is nice, and it can kind of keep up with the SMGs at close range with the strafing, but definitely in the damage and time to kill category, it can demolish. Thanks for watching, guys. Drop a like on this thing, and I will see you guys in the next video later today. Smash that like button, guys. Subscribe if you guys made it to the end, and I'm out. Peace.